Hey, what's up, everybody? JayC here, and welcome to a Tuesday night live stream. I figured we got a lot to talk about with everything that's gone on with San Diego Comic-Con this past week and a few things since. So let's first take a roll call, see who is in the house tonight. So let's see. Thank you. I see your avatar. I don't see your name. That's weird. Thank you, JayC, for all the hard work you go through to give us all the information with your websites, YouTube updates. Appreciate it. Much appreciated for you checking it all out. Definitely last week was a lot of work last week, but definitely I think it was worth it. We had a lot of cool reveals and everything. Rick is in the house. Looking forward to Hasbro's official announcement on the HasLab. Me too, just so we can see what it is, but I don't think we're going to get the official announcement until September is my feeling, but we'll have to see. Darth Educator, what's up? Michael's in the house. Sean is in the house. Paul is in the house. Blade Runner. Henry G. Joseph Jenkins is in the house. How you doing, man? So, what were your guys' thoughts about San Diego Comic-Con? What stood out to you? What were you most excited about? What were you the least excited about or unhappy with? What company did you think stole the show? I'm interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on last week and everything that we got to see. Jerry says Fin Fang Foom on a car. But Fin Fang Foom riding Ghost Rider's car, is that what you think the HasLab's going to be? KB says Super 7 San Diego Comic-Con still up. I assume you mean the exclusives. I ended up getting the bat. I wasn't going to, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just really interested to see what the G.I. Joe Ultimates from Super 7 are going to be like. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get the bat. And then I ended up getting Lion-O too, and I was like, I was really on the fence with Lion-O because, I mean, the color change gimmick, with the cold is, it's interesting, but I've already got Lion-O. I finally got my whole Thundercat team set up on the shelf, the good guys. I'm still waiting on my Vulture Man to arrive from Entertainment Earth, which should be here sometime this week, and then I'll have all the main mutants. So I'm pretty excited for that. Chuck Serpentor, This I Command. Yes, I definitely was pretty impressed with the classified Serpentor that they showed off. Not super thrilled with the fact that it's a Pulse exclusive, but I figure I think they'll make it fairly easy for most of us to get it. I don't think it'll be something that sells out instantly. So, Dr. Mindbender and Serpentor as PulseCon exclusives this year, but better than Target exclusives. I feel like saying that it's definitely better than Target exclusives. Scourge of Memphis says NECA stole the show. The new Mirage Turtles from NECA impressed Eric. Yeah, I thought NECA had the gargoyles. The gargoyle stuff I thought was pretty good, nice looking. I mean, I haven't really been collecting the gargoyles. I only have the first figure, but they look good. And then the turtles, the D&D figures are looking pretty good. They showed off the 2 new Dungeons and Dragon figures, so those were pretty impressive looking. Universal Monsters, not my cup of tea per se, but the Dracula figure looked pretty good. So NECA definitely had some cool things up. Darth Educator, we don't know. I'm guessing probably right around or before PulseCon, which is on September 30th. That's usually what they did last year. So that's my guess, but Hasbro hasn't said when they're going to put that up. But again, I would suspect either like right before, like maybe the day before or something, or the day of PulseCon. And that, again, starts on September 30th. Trevor says AC/DC. I definitely am not into collecting figures of musicians, but I mean, they look good. I mean, if you're a huge fan of AC/DC, then those definitely look good. Austin liking the Soul Calibur figures from Storm Collectibles. Mr. Allmine thinking G.I. Joe Classified killed it. I would agree with you, but I mean, I'm a little biased because G.I. Joe is one of my favorite brands. So, but the Serpentor looked great. The His tank looked, we talked about this last week, but that His tank just looked really, really impressive. So I'm very glad that I've backed at least one, and maybe we'll get a second one. I haven't decided, but I'm very happy that I backed at least one of those because that thing looked just gorgeous. They didn't have a whole lot new on hand for Classified. I was a little, I can't say I was super excited for like another Snake Eyes in the retro collection line. I would have rather seen like Duke or Cobra Commander or something like that. But Crimson Guard, I'll always take Crimson Guard soldiers, so that one I wasn't too upset about. But I feel like the line has enough Snake Eyes in it for now that we don't really need any more Snake Eyes figures. But the digital renders that we saw for Shipwreck, that one, classic Shipwreck, and Rock and Roll and Torpedo, I mean, those all look like they're going to turn out to be really nice looking figures. So definitely, the more I see of that line, the happier I am. And the detail on like Serpentor's Air Chariot, that was really nice. And we're getting a Cobra Trouble Bubble with Televiper. Hopefully that won't be like a Target exclusive, because that's probably going to sell like hotcakes, because that's going to be like an army builder. You're not only going to get the Trouble Bubble army builder, but then the Televiper army builder. So that one I'm excited for, but I'm also like a little scared on how they're going to release that and how hard it's going to be able to get. Trevor says Mezco's Roadblock looked good. Yeah, it looked pretty good, but I got the Destro on pre-order, and I don't really until I get Destro in hand, I don't plan on getting any more of those. Still waiting on my damn Batman, which they had on display at Comic-Con, but I don't think they gave any updates on when we're actually going to see that thing. CM Brock. Yeah, I don't think they, since last week, I don't think they've put that animated Spider-Man back up on Walmart, but I'm going to take Dan Yun's word on it, and at some point they will relist them. Of course, he also said the same thing about the Doc Ock and Silk 2-pack on Amazon, and that is yet to be relisted, but I assume at some point it will, for those who missed out on that one. Chuck, I got the Series 1 Valaverse figures. I got that because I have the Surgeon. I have the only figure I have is Surgeon Slaughter on pre-order. But yeah, I got that email today as well. So looks like finally gonna get my Sergeant Slaughter Valaverse figure. New Eternity Beastman, nice. It's a nice figure. Did yours have the correct coloring, or was yours, because they've got the one where the midsection and the arms are like different colors of orange, and then it looks like they corrected it, so later production runs have the corrected coloring. Yeah, the trailer went up last week. And William, I think we talked about this last week. William Shatner is going to be a voice in the Revelation series. So he and Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, Captain Kirk together at last. My money is still that William Shatner is going to voice Hordak, but we'll see. Alex, so I think there needs to be clarification. So a gold label figure does not automatically mean a variant. All gold label means is it's a store exclusive. Now, this is McFarlane we are talking about, who re-releases figures many, many times. So I'm not saying that there couldn't be another version of that figure, but just because it's a gold label doesn't mean that there's a regular retail version coming. It just means that that particular figure is a store exclusive. So same thing with the Knightfall Batman that we just saw today for the first time. That is a Walmart exclusive. It is a gold label figure. Is it possible he'll give us like a red version or different paint apps of some kind, down the road? Yes. Again, it's McFarlane, but like I have not seen any listings for like a regular non-gold label Knightfall Batman or a regular non-gold label Hal Jordan figure. So the Platinum collection are variants. So if it's part of the Platinum collection, then there is definitely a regular version and then the variant version. But with gold label, all that essentially means is store exclusive. So I see a lot of people saying like, well, when are we going to see the regular version? And like I said, just because it's a gold label does not mean there's a regular version. Doesn't mean that there won't be one. So just to be clear, but it's not an automatic thing. Eric, I've seen Twitter images of Target. A guy I know who works at a Target told me they were resetting their toy aisles this week. So yeah, probably you can go into your local store and see it. But I don't know how much new stuff they're putting out during this reset. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like some of the McFarlane stuff is being put out. But like for Marvel Legends, I'm trying to think. Like I don't think any of the recent exclusives, like the paper bag Spider-Man or the Black North Spider-Man, are going to be in this reset. Yeah, Black Adam wave is already hitting. The Manga Spawn figures already hitting. Those 66 Batman figures from McFarlane, the Bat Cycle and like the Mr. Freeze and those are all hitting physical stores. So and I believe the McFarlane store website has the Bane figure and the Necron figure in stock. So I think if you go over there and buy it there, they are actually starting to ship those out to people. So I believe they're the first to have those. Scourge of Memphis, I'm pretty sure it's Shuri, but Alex, so yeah, the Ocean Master is another one, and that one I think is showing up at Target as well. But Ocean Master is another gold label, so it's a Target store exclusive. Will there be another Ocean Master figure released? Not that I've seen any listings for. It doesn't mean there won't be, but yeah, gold label Target exclusive. Used to starting out, it was just Walmart exclusives. Anything that was gold label was automatically assumed to be a Walmart exclusive. But then they started doing Target exclusives with the gold label as well. So, but like the Knightfall Batman, there's a listing already on Walmart for it. So that one looks like it's going to be a Walmart exclusive. It's blue as well. They seem to like to color code these things. Like red figures go to Target and blue ones go to Walmart. But the Knightfall Batman is definitely looking like a Walmart exclusive. And again, there's a listing like the Hal Jordan figure. There's a listing on the Walmart website for it. Yeah, I was really expecting Hal Jordan to go up for pre-order last week for CollectorCon, and it didn't. So I don't know when they're going to make those available for pre-order or purchase, especially with the Hal Jordan that's already hitting physical stores. The Knightfall Batman is, as far as I know of, has not hit the U.S. yet, but yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Same thing with those DC Superpower figures. Didn't go up last week during CollectorCon. Have been hitting shelves for weeks, but have yet to be placed up online. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think Target's starting to ship out. I got an email saying my manga Spawn figure. I was able to grab that one when they had it up for the low price. So I only paid $25 for mine. I thought they were gonna cancel it, but they never did. So looks like I was able to pick that one up for only $25. So that one should be coming. Oh, and my Martian Manhunter, my gold label Martian Manhunter figure, that one's shipping from Target as well. I know that one's been hitting physical stores, I think, but my pre-order for that one is finally shipping. And yeah, I got a shipping notice from NECA too on Usagi. I haven't looked it up to see when it's going to arrive, but I assume it'll be here sometime this week. So I'm excited for that one. Alec, you're correct. That those should be the figures of Wave 2. I think it's New 52 Flash if I remember correctly, but yes. Anonymous dude, congrats to Mattel for being ambitious on the Eternia playset. That is, I mean, that sounds like it's going to be impressive. Now we'll have to wait and see what it's going to cost us. But, they said, mentioned it's likely going to have a working monorail. Now, I never had the original Eternia playset. I've seen it. I've seen it on display at like vintage toy stores and stuff, but I never owned it. I mean, I've said before, I never really collected Masters of the Universe back in the day. But um but yeah, so I never owned the original, but for those who did, or excited for that playset, it definitely looks impressive. I'm really curious to know what happened with the Masterverse playset that they mentioned in the interview they did right before San Diego Comic Con began. If there is an actual Masterverse playset coming, or if somebody just got confused and said Masterverse instead of Origins. But I know a lot of people are pretty peeved, and I would put myself in there a little bit. I'm not like destroyed about it, but the fact that they made Grizzlor a Mattel Creations exclusive, and if it sells out like the Wondar figure did, and that's going to be probably in more demand than Wondar because Grizzlor is a pretty main character. So if they let that figure go up and sell out in less than 2 minutes, there's going to be some pretty upset fans out there, I think. Michael, there is no seventh figure anymore, as far as I know of. Hasbro said there's only six, and the packaging only shows six figures. I don't think they're going to put out packaging that doesn't show all figures in the wave. So there was originally going to be a seventh figure in the wave, and my guess is it probably got pulled and will be released as a store exclusive, maybe because of its spoilerish nature, that they're going to release at a later time. But I believe the Black Panther wave now is actually only six figures. Probably the same lag as with everybody else with the shipping issues. Refresh my, is that the Montana wave that we're talking about? Because like Target had that listed on their website as in stock, but I was never able to grab one. So I think they've shown up somewhat. I feel like some people have found those in the U.S., but they have not. They have not shown up in any full force. I got the deluxe Leech and Snout Spout. I got those off of Amazon. Or no, maybe it was Big Bad Toys. I got them from someplace, I forget now. But I have those. So I have those two, but I have not gotten any of the regular figures in that wave. The Montana, the Pig Head, and whatever the other one is that I can't think of off the top of my head. Now, what I think of Namor, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I've never been a huge Namor fan. I've always found him to be kind of boring. So, I'll wait until I see the movie and make a determination. But Namor's never been a huge favorite character of mine, so I don't have a strong, opinion one way or the other on him, to be honest. If they use him well in the story, then I won't have a problem with, the actor or, how he looks, whether he has a goatee or not. I will say seeing him with a goatee is kind of weird, but I can definitely get used to that. The She-Hulk figure, that thing, man, that turned out to be, I mean, well, based on what we saw this weekend, that She-Hulk Disney Plus figure, that thing is nice. They did a really good job on that one. I mean, I would go as far as to say as the figure looks almost better than the CGI in the series. So that might be the best figure in that wave, to be absolutely honest. So I was impressed. That's probably the Marvel Legend that I was most impressed with, was that Disney Plus She-Hulk figure. Brick says, if Mattel wants a bigger splash with Eternia, they keep it at 250 or less. Origins Grayskull was lowish money. Keep mold simple, like the Origin stuff. I don't know. I mean, that thing looked pretty elaborate on display. And then, like I said, I heard him talking about things having like a working motorized monorail and stuff. So I feel like if they were just going to keep it bare minimum, they would have just released it at regular retail. So I have a feeling they're going to deck it out, and probably it's going to cost more than 250. I'm just ballpark guessing here, but I'm going to say between 350 to 500. I'm going to give myself a lot of leeway there, but lowest I would see that going for is 350, and I could see it possibly going as high as 500, especially if they're going to throw in action figures and stuff, and it has the working monorail and stuff. But 350 to 500 is the neighborhood I'm putting that price on. Oh, M'Baku, that's another one that's showing up at Target with the new reset, that Target exclusive version. John says comparing the figure to the CGI is lowering the bar. I like that trailer though. I gotta be honest. I feel like this She-Hulk series might be one of the best series that they've done so far on Disney Plus. So I actually am kind of excited for this one. Obviously, the tease of Daredevil with his yellow costume is interesting. And I have to wonder, since She-Hulk is going to be breaking the fourth wall, could we see like some type of cameo of Deadpool or something? Could this be how they first introduced Deadpool, with like an after credit scene at the end of the series? I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying, with her breaking the fourth wall and Deadpool being a fourth wall type character, I could see them doing something like that. But overall, I'm pretty excited for that She-Hulk series. Oh man, originally Eternia playset, if it's complete and in good condition, I think can definitely go over over $1,000 easily. We have coverage of WWE over on TNI. I haven't done any videos yet covering that stuff, but if you want coverage of WWE, head over to TNI. Like Pixel Dan did a walkthrough video with the Mattel guys, and we have images of all the figures around at the booth. So yeah, not only do we see Daredevil at the end of the trailer, at the very end, he's wearing his yellow suit, not his original yellow type suit. If you like freeze it, take a screen cap of it, you'll see it's a yellow suit, not his traditional red. So they're going old school, it looks like, which is kind of interesting to me. Because I don't think, at the end of the day, I don't think this is going to be the same Daredevil that was in the Netflix shows. They might make some references, but I don't think the Netflix Daredevil stuff is going to be considered canon for the MCU. So I feel like this is kind of same actor and everything, but it's essentially it's going to be a different Daredevil. And then Daredevil's getting his own series at the end of Phase 5 with 18 episodes. So most of these shows are only 6 episodes, and Daredevil's getting an 18 episode series. So that's pretty impressive. So what do you guys think of the HasLab tease for Marvel Legends with Ghost Rider? I mean, it is seeming very much like it's going to be Robbie Reyes and his Hellcar. But I don't know. I I don't know if I end up getting that one if that's what it is. Probably a lot will depend on price and then what they offer as pack-in. So if it's at a reasonably price, level, and I'm thinking if it's just his car and Robbie Reyes, we're looking at probably something similar to the G.I. Joe Classified His Tank, which probably puts it in that $250 price range. If they gave us all 3 Ghost Riders with the 2 with the bikes and the 1 with the car, that would be a little more appealing to me, especially if the bikes are really decked out and everything. But I feel like I feel like they're going to take a page from G.I. Joe Classified and do something in that $250 price range, which, like I said, Robbie Reyes and his car, I think would fit that. Now, if that is the case, I might get it, but if they give us like a Mephisto and or Blackheart as a tier figure, I would definitely be in that case. Not saying they will, but I'm saying if they did, that would be that would seal the deal for me. See that no man, that's what I want to see. I want to see Danny Keach and his motorcycle. I would rather that be the HasLab, with a really decked out motorcycle with electronics and things like that. That's what I was kind of hoping for. Or again, maybe all 3 of them. But I mean, it is, celebrating Ghost Rider's 50-year anniversary. So if you did a set with all 3 of the Ghost Riders, the Ghost Riders through the years, that would kind of make sense to celebrate the 50th anniversary. So I still think it's possible it could be something like all 3. But if they do all 3 Ghost Riders, I feel like they've got to not only do the figures, they've got to give us the vehicles as well. They can't give us like Robbie Reyes and his car and then just Johnny Blaze and Danny Keach Ghost Rider figures. It's got to be, the 3 Ghost Riders and their vehicles if they're going to do like all of them. I would not be happy with like just a Danny Keach or a Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider figure as an unlockable tier without his motorcycle, and I don't think they would do motorcycles as a stretch goal. So I feel like if they're gonna do all 3, they need to do it like as a set, a 50th anniversary commemorative set where they give us all 3 Ghost Riders and then their vehicles that are all nicely decked out and everything. If they do that, that would be much more appealing to me. But again, I feel like maybe with high costs and everything, they're taking a page from the G.I. Joe HasLab, and they're just going to do the car, and they're just going to do the figure, and it's going to end up costing around $250 or so. A horse. I assume you mean Phantom Rider. See, Phantom Rider is not technically Ghost Rider, because Phantom Rider was created in the 60s. So if Phantom Rider, I know he was originally named Ghost Rider, and then they changed the name to Phantom Rider, but if they actually considered him a Ghost Rider, then Ghost Rider would be celebrating, and he'd be older than 50 years old. So I don't think they would include like a Phantom Rider, and I guess they could, but what do I think of the state of the YouTube toy community? I mean, there's definitely a group of guys that hang out together. I don't know if I would consider that the whole YouTube toy community, but guys getting together and hanging out, that's always cool to me. Double Trouble thinks they'll do all three. Yeah, I don't know. I certainly think it's possible. And then they put out those Robbie Reyes accessories on the at the booth just to make us think it's going to be Robbie Reyes, because I feel like those clues that they put out during Comic-Con with the accessories, I mean, those were so blatant. They might as well have just told us what it was, what the HasLab was. So I feel like there's a little bit of a misdirect going on with those clues that they put out. So, that's why, maybe all three makes more sense. They're just showing us the accessories for one of them so that we think it's just the one. So I definitely feel like, maybe there's more to it than just Robbie Reyes and his car, because like those clues that they put out were just so obvious that I feel like Hasbro's trying to do a little misdirect there. Yep, Ghost Rider is a month older than I am. Target has the Transformers Legacy Metroplex for $189. I've not seen that, but I'll take your word for it. A Ghost Rider garage. Neil says, when it comes to toy influencers, I'm sick of seeing everyone getting freebie boxes. I hate the appearance of favoritism and danger. I mean, we've talked about all that kind of stuff before. I mean, that's not something unique to the toy industry. Companies all the time send that kind of stuff out to people. So, it's not really a unique thing. But I would agree with you to some extent that I think it's cool that Hasbro reaches out to, folks, gives them reveals and stuff. But I also do feel like there's a little bit of, they can overdo it a little bit, and it does come off as like favoritism, which then is going to, whether it's right or not, that's going to cause jealousy among others. And I don't know. It's a hard line to thread. I'll be honest with you. So, but that's what I say. I mean, just because Hasbro calls out a few YouTubers in a panel or, post pictures of them, that's not the whole, toy collecting community. So, if you like those guys, you watch those guys, that's great, fantastic. But there's definitely a lot more community out there. There's a lot more YouTubers out there. There's a lot more, people out there than just, the people that get highlighted by, say, Hasbro or something like that. Did I see there? I did not. No, I did not go watch the trailer. I saw the toys, and I can't say I was super impressed. Now, I understand that's a kid's show, so it's not really geared for me, but I can't say that at least the toys were super exciting to me. How much will Serpentor be? Somebody remind me how much the breaker with Ram Cycle was. So probably in that neighborhood, maybe a little more expensive. $50, I'm thinking between 50 and I'm going to put the neighborhood of between 50 and $70 on that one. Complete guess on my part, but 80 tops, $80 tops, but hopefully it'll be closer to 50 than 80. But I'll be honest with you, even if it's 80, I'm still getting it. Price be damned. That thing is too cool. So, unless it's just like $300 or something, there's not much chance I'm not going to get that one. Unless, of course, it sells out before I can get it, and that would suck. But again, I feel pretty confident that Hasbro will make sure that everybody who wants it will have a decent chance at getting it. SG says he's not getting the Hell Charger, saving his money for the Eternia playset. So it is interesting. I mean, I don't know when either company is going to actually put these items up for purchase. Mattel has not told us when they're actually launching their campaign for the new Eternia playset. Hopefully they're not both going to wait until September and do it at the exact same time, but I honestly would not be surprised if that's what they end up doing. But it'll be interesting to see, if there's much competition between the two companies doing those two crowdsourcing things. I mean, Masters of the Universe obviously has its own fan base. Marvel Legends has its own fan base. And I'm not sure if there's a huge overlap between the two. But, it'll be kind of interesting. For me personally, I probably would lean more between the Eternia playset, and if it is Ghost Rider and his car, I'd probably lean more towards the Hasbro one. I don't know where I would put that Eternia playset. That thing looked pretty massive, so I don't know where I'd even put that thing. Of course, I say that and sit here and feel disappointed that we didn't actually get a Castle Grayskull Masterverse playset like I was hoping. And I have no idea where I'd put that. I think I would clear that top shelf off back there and then put, if it was Castle Grayskull, but that Eternia playset I don't even think would fit up there. Because that Eternia playset is round, so it's not only wide like a Castle Grayskull, but it's round, so that thing's really going to take up a lot of shelf space. Jerry Robot, I gotta be honest, I thought the Manny Faces figure was one of the cooler Masterverse reveals. Roboto is cool. I'm glad we're getting Roboto. He played a big role in the Revelation series. I'm glad we're getting him. But I love that Manny Faces, that new Eternia Manny Faces they showed off. Jerry, Snake Mountain. Yeah, I definitely was surprised that they went with Eternia as opposed to Snake Mountain. You would have thought the next Origins playset would have been Snake Mountain. So to me, that was the fact that they, not so much that they were doing a playset for Origins like that, but that they went with the more obscure Eternia playset as opposed to Snake Mountain. But maybe that just means that they're going to release Snake Mountain at regular retail, just like they did with Castle Grayskull. so it won't be as expensive. It's quite possible that's why they're doing Eternia as the crowdsourcing thing, and then at some point we will see Snake Mountain similar to the Castle Grayskull released at regular retail. The Evelyn is the sorcerer. There's both the Evelyn as the sorceress of Grayskull, and then when she got powered up with the power of Grayskull, the He-Man like Evelyn. I like the sorceress figure, the Revelation sorceress they showed. I like that one. Austin, and that's where I go back to thinking more likely it's going to be a set of all three, because the fact that they highlighted, not only just Ghost Rider but the 50th anniversary of Ghost Rider with the HasLab, I agree. It's kind of odd that you would be celebrating his 50th anniversary with a Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. So that's where I kind of lean more towards maybe it's going to be all three of them. What's up, Rolando? I mean, I'll be honest with you. None of those Masterverse figures they revealed look bad to me. Stratos was probably the one I'm least excited for, but all of those Masterverse figures look pretty good. Lena says, that might be wishful thinking on my part, but I feel like Ghosty's HasLab will offer something appealing to all Marvel Legend collectors as a whole. They need those backers. I would agree with you, but like it's hard to imagine what Ghost Rider related could be. Definitely I think if they did Mephisto and Blackheart as stretch goal add-ons, that would encourage a lot of people who maybe are on the fence. Maybe even some people who don't really care about Ghost Rider at all, but still would get it just for those two. But but um but yeah, I don't know what could possibly Ghost Rider related that would really appeal to all Marvel Legend fans. Like on the same scale as the Sentinel. Now that to me is more of an argument to make that they're gonna keep the price down on it and be like $250, because it maybe is something that isn't going to have quite as wide of appeal as like a Sentinel or a Galactus or something like that. I don't think they're going to do Phantom Rider with his horse. I think if it is a set, I think it'll be Johnny Blaze with his bike, Danny Keach with his bike, and then Reyes with his bike. Now, also keep in mind, there should be a Ghost Rider figure coming on a retro card back this year. I don't know what version of Ghost Rider, but we should be getting some type of Ghost Rider figure this year released on a retro Ghost Rider card back. So, we've got that coming as well. Stratos doesn't look bad. He's never been a favorite character of mine, and I've already got a Stratos, so it didn't look so much better than the previous Stratos that it's worth like getting him again. SG, I don't know. I assume you mean Star Wars. Is there going to be another? Because there hasn't been a vintage collection Star Wars HasLab this year, but will there be another Star Wars HasLab? My guess is probably not this year for Star Wars. Transformers will probably get a HasLab this year, maybe later in the year after the Marvel one. But I think the Star Wars one, I think it's one HasLab per year, and we already had the Star Wars lightsaber that failed, so I think that was it for this year on Star Wars. Good news is hopefully that will give them plenty of time to go back to the drawing board and come up with something really cool to offer us, like a Death Star playset, something like that, next year. Cosmic Wasp. It is the year of the Snake Man. And that I didn't really think of it that way, but I do feel like maybe we will see a Snake Mountain playset released at regular retail at some point, which is why they didn't do the crowdsourcing item for Snake Mountain as opposed to Eternia. But yeah, I mean, it is the year of the snake apparently for Origins. Well, they're not doing them all at the same time, Bean, but I would suspect that each brand will still get its own HasLab. They're just spreading them out a little bit more, which is a good thing. But I feel like we will see another Transformers one probably by the end of the year. Right? You say catch, I say Keech. My thoughts on the 90 or on the 88 repeater. Not sure what you're referencing. A little more clarification. Well, I doubt they'll do Snake Mountain CGI He-Man series since they're doing Castle Grayskull this year, but maybe down the road. With some of those vehicles, I feel like the Origin vehicles, you can maybe kind of get away with it a little bit, like using Masterverse figures, but in general, I don't think they're, too compatible. Now, like that CGI series Castle Grayskull playset, that one you could probably, if you wanted to, could use with like your Origins figures. In fact, they had some Origin figures displayed on it at Comic Con, so that playset is definitely, I think, has cross compatibility between lines if you want to. Obviously, it doesn't look like the original Castle Grayskull, but Anonymous dude, who do I play in Street Fighter? So Chun Li is my favorite. Guile's probably my second favorite, followed by Ryu. Those are my top three that I usually use. But I've always, since the game came out originally, I've always liked Chun Li, and I think it's because it used to be able, you get people stuck in the corner and then you just start kicking the crap out of them. So I always like that. And I also like how she can like grab people in the air and throw them down on the ground. That's always been one of my favorite moves. And to me, not just Street Fighter, but the original Street Fighter 2, that's my favorite. Like, even in the Marvel versus Capcom versions, I don't like the Street Fighter characters nearly as much, but there's just something about the original Street Fighter 2 game. Yes, I did see that. I gotta be honest with you. I don't usually, fantasize about video game characters. So I'm sure if she was in real life and like actresses that have played her in real life, but I can't say that that was necessarily. Though I will like I was playing the other day the Street Fighter, and I was playing against Honda, and I was like, And when you knock the guy out and he's like sitting there and it's like you're basically looking up his crotch. I had to kind of laugh at that. Thanks, Mr. Tippett. Yeah. I think this is my only right now. This is my only He-Man shirt that I have. Whenever I'm talking He-Man, I usually throw this one on. Yeah, I don't think I think you could probably still find Moss Man out there today. That one did not seem to sell super well. Yeah, there's just something about the simplicity of the original Street Fighter 2. I don't like all that, where you've got like 2 and 3 characters and, the moves. I just like the moves better on the original. Not the video game, but, the Angelina Jolie version, maybe. Yeah, I don't do a lot of storing collectibles just because they are so expensive. I am really curious. Those Street Fighter figures that Jada Toys had on display, they didn't look too bad to me. I assume they're going to be around $20. So, for a $20 figure, those actually look like might have potential. And they should scale. I think they're going to scale pretty well with like Marvel Legends. So I don't know how well you can see, but like here on the Marvel versus Capcom, and then over here on the Street Fighter, I've got my Soda Toy Street Fighter figures on display. Every game has got to have corresponding action figures on display of it. So like I've got Chun-Li, Guile, Blanca, and Ryu over on the Street Fighter machine, and then I've got another Ryu and M Bison facing off against Cap and Cyclops on the Marvel vs. Capcom game. You talking about the diecast one that they did? I don't know. I don't follow the diecast stuff that closely, so I haven't been paying a close attention to those. Well, Storm Collectibles teased Blanca to this past week at San Diego, but I would imagine that eventually Jada Toys would do one as well. So, what did you guys think of the MCU news that came out last week with like all the Phase 5 and some of the Phase 6 movies they announced? I definitely feel like I'm more excited for Phase 5, or is it 6? Phase 6, right? Phase 6 is the one with the 2 Avengers movies. I'm getting confused now. But the the phase with the 2 Avengers movies that starts with the Fantastic Four, and like there's it's 4 and 5, yeah, right. And then I got at 5 and 6. Okay, so phase 5 ends with Thunderbolts, which I think should be pretty cool. And then phase 6 starts with Fantastic Four and ends with the two Avengers movies, Kang's Dynasty and Secret Wars. So, like, and then of course, we already mentioned about the Daredevil series with 18 episodes in phase 5, towards the end of phase 5. So I feel like, I got to be honest with you, phase 4 was kind of but I feel like, and even as phase 5 kind of maybe starts out, but I feel like by the time we get the end of phase 5 and into phase 6, things are going to be picking back up and getting pretty exciting again for the MCU. Yeah, I think you're probably right, John, that they will announce more movies for phase 6 at D23, possibly the X-Men. There's been rumors that the new X-Men movie is going to be called The Mutants. So, and I know like a lot of people think like the Secret Wars movie is going to be the more modern version of Secret Wars, not the original limited series with the Beyonder. But I really feel like it would be much cooler if they go the Beyonder route, especially since they're introducing all these teams. And so if they brought them all together like on a battle world that like introduced Galactus, that would to me would be pretty damn cool. Um, if that's what they did. I don't know what's going on. That seems to have dropped off the radar. So maybe it got moved to phase 6 and they just haven't announced it yet. But yeah, right now Armor Wars seems to be MIA. I know that War Machine is going to be popping up in the Secret Invasion series, but I don't know what's going on with Armor Wars, which I'm a little disappointed because I was definitely looking forward to that one. Oh, you got the yeah. I haven't yet, but I may run over to the McFarlane store and order that main figure. I'll probably wait for like Target or Big Bad or somebody to get the Black Adam figures, but that would be cool too. Introduce the symbiote with black costume Spider-Man, just like they did in the comics. Though technically, I guess the symbiote's already been introduced, but yeah, I don't. It would be hard to imagine they canceled it altogether. So they probably just moved it to phase 6, and they'll tell us more about it. Well, have Doom steal Galactus's power so that he can then take on the Beyonder if they were going to follow the comics. Anonymous dude giving a shout out to Shartimus Prime. Shartimus helped out with San Diego Comic Con coverage for us, so he definitely deserves a shout out. I'm not sure I get your reference. Secret Wars comic was out long before Game of Thrones, but I don't think I ever compared Secret Wars to Game of Thrones. Brick says Phase 4 was solid, only as lame as the Incredible Hulk or Thor. I didn't think Phase 4 was lame. I just wasn't as excited about it. I mean, mainly because my favorite characters weren't really in it. And it didn't seem to have a very, the directions so far has just been kind of all over the place. So, right. And that's what a lot of people think the movie will be based on. But, oh, are you talking about that being the reference for Game of Thrones? I haven't read that story, so I don't know much about that version of Secret Wars. Yeah, okay. I have never read that, so I don't know. I mean, I definitely hope they do the X-Men justice in the MCU. I agree with you. I'd still love. I don't know if it's probably not going to happen, but I would still love to see Hugh Jackman make his way to the MCU as Wolverine with an actual Wolverine costume. Yeah, I don't know. Though I'll tell you, Wong is like everywhere. He's become like the most popular character in the MCU. He pops up in every every movie now. He's like the Iron Man. He's like the new. He's the Iron Man of this phase. I think probably all the main Horde characters will show up. Some version of them anyway. Big question is whether She-Ra shows up in the series or not. Well, he could definitely be an older Logan, but I don't think he has to be old man Logan age. Yeah, Hugh Jackman's getting old, but he's not quite that old yet. I mean, they could use makeup and stuff and get him if they wanted to go that route, but I think they could still probably get away with him being fairly, well, Wong's not usually the comedic relief, maybe a little bit, but Stan Lee was kind of the comedic relief. But he definitely, is popping up everywhere. Maybe, or maybe, that will lead into the next season. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably a better Wong being kind of the new Nick Fury, even though Nick Fury is still technically around. But yeah, that's kind of more of the role he seems to be playing these days. Well, Thunderbolt Ross wasn't even part of the original Thunderbolt, so it depends on what direction that they're going. But I do, whether they were thinking about having a a Red Hulk character in the MCU, I do feel like with the actor having passed away, that's probably less likely now. I don't know if they would recast Ross. The Hasselhoff Nick Fury. He should like if they do any more multiverse stuff, he should definitely pop up as like a variant or whatever they call him. I'll watch both Guardians and Ant-Man, but I got to be honest, Guardians to me, first of all, they were like a complete waste in the Thor movie. It was like, what is even the point of having them in? They had like played no real role in that movie. But the Guardians to me, they're okay, but they're not my favorite. Bootcat, I wouldn't mind the original Thunderbolts if they, decided to introduce those characters, but at the same time, I definitely want to see my boy U.S. Agent pop up in that movie. So, and I think we'll see U.S. Agent in the new Captain America movie, the New World Order. Now, the big question to me is whether we will see Steve Rogers at all in that movie, or if not, I'm hoping we do, even if it's like, like a Commander Rogers type character. I hope that we see Steve return to the MCU. I really think Phase 4 got like, when they were planning out Phase 4, they started planning that phase out before the buyout of 20th Century Fox and the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. And I feel like when that happened, that threw like a wrench in everything. And so they kind of had to go back to the drawing board and do it quickly because, they were running out of time. So I feel like that plays a role for why Phase 4 has seemed so discombobulated and everything. So I could be wrong. Maybe this is what they always planned for Phase 4. I don't know. But I do feel like when they bought, 20th Century Fox and got those rights back to those characters, and then they had to start looking at ways to introduce those characters, I feel like they had to kind of go back to the drawing board um, and start over with Phase 4. And so it probably got rushed a bit. Snipes will be definitely hard to beat, but I think they could do it, or at least have as good of a movie. I mean, the thing about Phase 4 is, I give Marvel credit for trying to take these, second, third tier type characters that in the comic books, if you look at their histories in the comics, they generally cannot hold a long running series on their own. Usually they have, short run series that end up getting canceled. So, I give them credit for trying to take these lesser known characters and trying to get them in the limelight. But at the same time, there's a reason why those characters had a hard time. They were never as popular as like a Spider-Man or Captain America or what have you, because they're just not as exciting characters. And I felt like with the first, leading up to Endgame, you had some of those characters that they brought in. Guardians of the Galaxy I'd put in that category, Ant-Man the Wasp. Um, you know, but you also had your leading characters. So you still had Thor, you still had Iron Man, you still had Captain America. But starting in Phase 4, they basically got rid of all of those, those heavy hitters, and all we had left were these kind of second tier characters, and that's why I feel like it's kind of fallen apart. I don't think it was. I think it was a mistake to, get rid of Steve Rogers and Tony Stark at this stage. I'm sure part of that maybe was contract negotiations and things like that. I'm sure those actors probably wanted more money, things like that. But I feel like that was the biggest mistake is, you can do the second tier characters, but I think you still also have to keep your heavy hitters. And yeah, you still have Thor, but Thor to me has never been quite the heavy hitter as like an Iron Man or Captain America or Spider Man. And obviously we still have Spider Man, but Spider Man is a joint thing between Sony and Disney, and so that character tends to get muddled a bit because of what Sony's trying to do with the character as opposed to what Disney's trying to do. So I feel like they made a mistake in getting rid of all of their mainstream heavy hitter characters at the end of Avengers Endgame, and then kind of came at us with just all these second tier characters. Now, as they start to incorporate characters like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, that will bring back heavy hitters, assuming they do good jobs with them. And so that's where I think the excitement will end up coming back to the MCU, because they'll have those new heavy hitters in there. And again, I'm always hopeful that they bring back Steve Rogers and maybe even Tony Stark at some point. Nobody ever stays dead in comics, so that doesn't mean they can't bring back Tony Stark to life. And I would agree with you. I never was a huge fan of Ant-Man in the comic books, but I thought those movies weren't bad. They're not my favorite movies, but they weren't bad. Same thing with the Guardians. I didn't think the Guardians of the Galaxy movies were bad, though I did think the first one movie was better than the second. I did not like the second nearly as much, but they were just, they were not characters in the comics that were ever favorites of mine. So, yes, I guess he did. One of the very few characters in comics that stayed dead. And I agree with you 100% that I don't know why. Well, again, I have suspicions, but I think they've overdone the comedy with the Thor. Instead of increasing the comedy from Thor Ragnarok, I feel like if they had just ratcheted a little bit back from what they did with Thor Ragnarok, then I think they would have had the perfect Thor movie. But instead of going back a little bit, they decided to go forward with the comedy, and I feel like that definitely took away from Love and Thunder. I still feel like the overall story of Love and Thunder was pretty good, but I feel like all the comedy and everything they tried to jam in there just kind of overshadowed the story. Turtle, I don't know. I don't even know like how connected the two Avengers movies. Is it going to be like a part 1 and a part 2? Because like they just today announced the director for the Kang Dynasty movie, which is going to be the same guy who directed the Shang-Chi movie. But it's not clear whether he's also going to direct the Secret Wars movie. The Coen brothers directed both Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. So those were essentially part 1, part 2 of an overall story. But it's not clear to me whether these two Avengers movies are going to be done similarly, or whether these are going to be almost like two separate movies. So I don't know how the one will lead into the other. I also think it's very interesting that they're almost doing them back to back, and like the entire phase is only going to be 1 year long. So I feel like that's definitely kind of interesting that they're going that route. But you know, I don't know exactly where they're going to go with Kang, because Kang has had so many different types of storylines over the years. Is it going to be related to Wanda? Is it going to be related to Doctor Doom? Um, is it going to be a time travel story? I really don't know. Is it going to be related to the Fantastic Four? I mean, there's so many interconnecting routes that it could go, and it's just has not been terribly clear how they're going to do that, other than multiverse, the multiverse stuff. But I don't know. Or what team is it going to be? I suspect it's going to be a fairly new team. You know, Probably Captain Marvel, maybe Spider-Man. Thor will probably be still on the team. Hulk maybe, or maybe She-Hulk. Um, but I don't know. War Machine maybe. Yep. I mean, he definitely he made that role very special, which is why I think Disney has not chosen to recast him. But I'll be absolutely honest with you. Watching a Black Panther movie without Black Panther is going to be hard. That's not to say it won't be good, but definitely. I mean, I guess if we want to consider Shuri Black Panther, but I've never read any of the comics where she was Black Panther, so I know very little about her from that point of view. But there's, I have a feeling we're gonna see, maybe not until like Phase 7, but I have a feeling we're gonna see Ghost Rider pop up in the MCU pretty soon. I hope Chris Evans comes back as Steve Rogers. I don't know if he'll come back as Captain America, but like, even if they want, like I said, do a Commander Rogers type route with him, old man Rogers, that I think could work. I feel like they're gonna keep, Sam Wilson as Captain America for a little while, at least through these two phases. So these next two phases, I think Falcon will, Sam will still be Captain America come those two Avenger movies. They've been hinting. What's that actor's name that's playing Ken in the Barbie movie and was in Blade Runner? I forget his name now, but they've been hinting pretty strongly that he's been saying that he would be very interested in playing Ghost Rider, and then Feige came out and said that he would love to find a way to introduce him into the MC, get him into the MCU. So I have a feeling that Ryan Gosling. I feel that, well, they're not actually saying he's Ghost Rider. They're saying Ryan Gosling wants to play Ghost Rider, and then Feige has suggested that he would love to get him into the MCU. Now, the honest to God truth is, if you were really interested in a role, you wouldn't announce it on Twitter. I mean, that to me is all just publicity. That's something your agents hash out. So likely they've already done negotiations and stuff, and they're just like I said, they're trying to build up publicity with like announcing the stuff through the media and such. But yeah, it definitely seems like strong indications that Ryan Gosling could end up being Ghost Rider. Anonymous dude. I don't know what. I mean, part of it is the rights of the character were held by Universal. It's kind of like a Spider-Man deal. And honestly, I don't know if they fully reverted back to the MCU or not. I guess they have. But but I don't know if like Universal Pictures is completely out of the picture, like if they wanted to do a solo Hulk movie. So I don't know if that's what continues to hold up that or what, but and they also, Hulk's another character where they seem to really be doing a whole lot of comedy with it. So, well, the only one that I know of that they've refused to recast is so far at least Black Panther. In fact, they did recast the Hulk. seeing well, the thing about like say Joker is, I mean, I agree Heath Ledger did a great job as the Joker, and I agree not having him in the third Batman movie. I was not impressed with that third Batman movie, but obviously there's been a lot of actors who played the Joker over the years, including like Jack Nicholson, which is still one of my favorite Jokers. But so to me, it's not quite, you can definitely recast a character. KJ, I agree. They did a pretty good job with Ghost Rider in the Agents of Shield series. In fact, I've never I've read a few of the Avengers comics that Reyes appeared in as Ghost Rider when he joined the Avengers team, but I've never read any of the single titles of Ghost Rider with him. So really, that Agents of Shield series is my most exposure to that character. I will be honest with you. I would have, obviously it was not a true rumor, but I would have been interested to see Tom Cruise play a Tony Stark Iron Man. I don't think he would have done as good a job as Robert Downey Jr., but I would have been kind of curious to see that. I think Ruffalo did a pretty good job of Hulk in like the first Avengers movie and stuff, but as they've made him like a smart Hulk character, I don't know, it's become less appealing to me. If they ever do a single Hulk movie again, I think he needs to go back to like a Savage type Hulk character. John, I don't read comics very often these days. I read comics all the time, and then through the '90s and late '80s, '90s, and even early 2000s. But I really do not read much comics these days. Part of its price, they've gotten so expensive, it's kind of ridiculous. So I do not, as far as modern comics go, next to none. I like Tom Cruise as an actor. As a person, he's probably kind of an asshole, but as an actor, I like most of his roles. So, like I said, I don't think he would have done as good a job as Robert Downey Jr. And I don't know if I would want to see him become like a permanent Iron Man, but it would have been interesting to kind of see him in like the Doctor Strange movie. I think honestly, KJ, I think that's very possible that we might end up liking She-Hulk better than the Hulk. Red Knock, no real news per se. We talked about it, but I mean, it's going to be a crowdsourcing item on Mattel Creations, but we don't have any details about it right now. Mattel hasn't released any details, so we just were kind of speculating and stuff, but no actual news other than just the basic news that we've known since last week about it coming and that it's going to be crowdsourced on the Mattel Creations website. So I don't know how many of you guys watch Star Trek at all, any of the Star Trek stuff, but right before this, I caught wind of word that came out of Comic Con that they're going to be doing a crossover between the Strange New World series with the Captain Pike series and then the Lower Deck series, which is an animated kind of comedic type series, which actually takes place in the next generation time. So I don't know how, but like they're actually going to have the characters from the cartoon appear as live action characters in the Strange New World series, and then I think at least like the captain is going to appear in the cartoon as a cartoon character. So I don't know how that's going to work, but again, I don't know how many of you guys watch Star Trek, but I saw that right before starting this live stream, and I was like, "What the hell?" All right, well, it's almost 8 o'clock, so I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. But as always, guys, I much appreciated for everyone who chimed in tonight. Always love hearing your guys' thoughts. Probably will be back on Thursday with another live stream, but not 100%. Play it by ear. Remember, I told you this in yesterday's news video, but just a reminder, if you are looking to get that DC Multiverse Booster Gold and Blue Beetle 2-pack, that should be going up for pre-order tomorrow. Tomorrow morning at, I think, 9 a.m. Eastern Time is the official time. However, if Amazon is par for the course, they will probably leak it out late tonight, as they have with most of the McFarlane stuff. But again, tomorrow that 2-pack with Booster Gold and Blue Beetle will be going up for pre-order at most online e-tailers like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. So just a heads up for you guys if you're interested in that set. All right, guys. So as always, stay safe out there. Have a great evening. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.